Hi, today I'm going to demonstrate how you can use the HyperFlex Orchestrator to deploy the Apprenda cloud platform on Cisco HyperFlex. Cisco HyperFlex is a hyper-converged infrastructure solution from Cisco, delivering on the promise of a cloud in a box. Normally, customers have to assemble a cloud platform from different parts, possibly acquired from different vendors. That means you get your compute, your network, and your storage, and you assemble them together to form a complete cloud platform. This process could take weeks or even months in certain situations. It is complicated, and if any issues arise, then you have to contact all the vendors in play to get help in troubleshooting. You don't get the single throat to choke. With HyperFlex, Cisco offers a full turnkey integrated solution. You get the software-defined networking and computing power of Cisco UCS with the Cisco HyperFlex data platform. This hyper-converged infrastructure is a good fit for the Apprenda cloud platform. It is fully configurable and designed for adaptability, but more importantly, it was built for hosting workloads in your data center. The Apprenda cloud platform is a Kubernetes-based product. We extend Kubernetes clusters so that IT can offer Kubernetes as a shared service to their developers, and we enhance Kubernetes with enterprise policy support, security features, and very importantly, Windows and legacy application architecture support. In an enterprise scenario, what you don't want to do is have every development team create its own Kubernetes cluster. That's going to make management very difficult, and it's also going to be very hard to enforce policy as an IT organization. Apprenda solved this problem with a service offering that IT can deliver to their developers by extending Apprenda and offering Kubernetes as a shared service. Cisco HyperFlex and Apprenda together offer a fully integrated application platform with a low-cost footprint and operational simplicity. We use all the pieces from the hyper-converged infrastructure to deploy Apprenda on top of HyperFlex, simplifying the delivery of a cloud application platform and standardizing on a consistent experience that can be replicated in other HyperFlex environments. Let's dive right in. What you're looking at now is the Apprenda Cloud Platform Orchestrator. It is built in Python, and it allows me to plan for a deployment. When I'm doing the plan file, Apprenda is going to ask me a series of questions, and it's going to give me the opportunity to add values in here that describe the environment I plan to use. So in this case here, I can go ahead and enter the IP address for the vCenter host. I enter my username here and a password. Now I keep going here, and I can continue doing this step by step, and at the end, we'll generate a plan file. I already had this plan file generated earlier, and this is in a nicely formatted YAML file, and I can also edit that directly and provide that to Apprenda. So I can either use a step-by-step that will help guide me into configuring my setup, or I can just use this simple file that's already pre-generated for me, and I can add all the details I want. As you notice, this plan file includes settings for Apprenda, the different nodes that I plan to bring into my Apprenda environment. That includes Windows, Linux nodes, Kubernetes. We have our HyperFlex settings here that help Apprenda and the orchestrator talk to HyperFlex to create the data store and configure HyperFlex in any way necessary. We have our network settings for DNS and the domain. We have our SQL Server configuration for providing the data store for the Apprenda Cloud Platform, as well as providing SQL as a service for applications. And then we have the different settings around vCenter and VMware, as well as the template that we plan to use for our installation. So now that we have this file already generated and ready, I can go ahead and exit out of the orchestrator here, and I can tell it to go ahead and perform the installation. Now this step is going to take a little bit of time, and during this execute phase, a series of steps are going to happen. The orchestrator is going to go ahead and create the virtual machines that are needed. It will use sysprep to specialize those virtual machines, both Windows and then also specialize the Linux ones. It will assign IP addresses and configure the networking, join machines to the domain. It will validate the network connectivity, and then at the end, it's going to go ahead and install SQL Server, make sure we have a separate data store for the data and log of SQL. It will install Apprenda, add all those nodes to the Apprenda installation, as well as install Kubernetes, contribute to creating the ACI integration, where we're installing a network plugin for Kubernetes for ACI. And then at the end, you'll have a fully featured Apprenda platform that can host and deploy both native as well as legacy Windows and Linux applications. So now what's happening, it's, our data store is getting created right now. And in vSphere, if we click here, you're going to see a series of virtual machines are going to get created. So we already have our first one, APCVG, PC0, and more of them are going to create it. So I'm going to go ahead and pause here so we can let the orchestrator do its work, and we'll get back here in a few minutes. Now that the Apprenda installation and the orchestrator is completed, we can go ahead and log into the Apprenda platform and look at our entire setup. So over here, we have the vSphere console. I can click on the load manager. So it's one of the instances running on Apprenda. This is our reverse proxy. I'm going to copy the IP address here. Let's go ahead and RDP into this IP address. I'm going to use the same credentials I put in the plan file for the orchestrator. So we basically had already the credentials handy for us. And now we have a login to one of the Windows nodes running on the Apprenda platform. We have our browser here. Let's go ahead and enter the URL for the Apprenda platform here, and tell it to go look at the SOC. I'm using a self-signed certificate, so that's why you're getting the connection is not private error. So let's go ahead and log in here to Apprenda using the credentials I entered in the orchestrator in terms of how to set up Apprenda for me. And here we go. We have Apprenda already fully installed. I can go look at the servers, and I see a collection of Windows nodes here that I pre-configured in the plan file, and now the orchestrator set up for me. I can look at my database nodes, and if I go under applications here, I can see all of my Apprenda applications. A lot of these are the core applications that power the Apprenda Cloud Platform, and they're all already pre-installed as part of the setup installation plan. Now, as an IT administrator, I answered a few simple questions for my environment, and I ended up a few minutes later with a fully functional cloud platform on top of my own HyperFlex hardware that is ready for developers to start onboarding their cloud native as well as their legacy applications. Thank you.